There's been so much development. There's so much development on the horizon right now. If you look, as you said, coming towards the downtown from Kingsway, you've got the big development happening, Project Manitou. Yeah. And then you have the downtown, which is like almost empty.
Yeah. Even like the old hospital came down literally last week. And I feel like the comments you see on Facebook, like I feel like that might already be like stirring up. Like people are like, oh my God, like something's actually happening. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to the TNT Real Estate Podcast, where we spark conversations that set you up for real estate success. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Tanya, and each week we bring you expert tips on navigating Northern Ontario's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you thrive. Welcome back. Welcome back to the TNT Podcast. Yeah. How was your week, Tyler? What have you been up to?
It was good.
I heard you got some new technology.
I got some new tech. I was one of the sheep, and I went and bought my AirPods AirPods 4, only for the reason so I can listen to people that are talking a different language that I wouldn't understand, and it would translate live into my ear.
Are you planning a lot of like international travel in the future? Are you going to Japan or something?
Yeah. This $200 purchase was gonna be the precursor to my international travel.
Yep.
And then I tried to hook it up with my phone, my iPhone 14, but it only works with iPhone 15s and over. So now I got to go spend $1,200 on a new phone to be able to use a feature of my $200 AirPods.
Yes, you must.
How was your week?
My week was great. I don't even know what we did. What did we do? We got a new hire at the office, which is amazing. Yes, she's things are going really well. So I think our brokerage, it's fall now, sweater weather, and everyone's sort of hunkering down. Everyone's showing up to the office, to our meetings, and things are rolling really well.
Absolutely.
Love it. Absolutely. Awesome. So we're going to talk this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about the future, the future of Sudbury. 2030. So right now we're 2025. Have we sort of thought about what's the vision of Sudbury for the future in the next 5 years?
I feel like I have been thinking about it more and more. Just like, I feel like, especially after kids, and then like we're in like the role that we are now, being owners of the brokerage, and like we're like, okay, what is next? Even more than ourselves, but for the city. So I feel like I think about it all the time, but obviously there's new builds. Like the one thing I always get excited about when I'm driving down Notre Dame and I see the crane in the sky, and there used to be 2 cranes in the sky. Like when was the last time we had a crane in the sky in downtown, even around downtown, anywhere in the city in like the last 10 years?
There has been so much development. There's so much development on the horizon right now. If you look, as you said, coming towards the downtown from Kingsway, you've got the big development happening. Is it called Manitou? Project Manitou? Yeah. And then you have the downtown, which is like almost empty. Yeah. That whole area with all the buildings that have been removed, and then just keep going down Paris Street, and now the hospital's gone. Yeah. It's been totally demolished.
It's gone.
Yeah. So big changes coming.
I didn't realize how beautiful a view it was. Like just like even driving by now that the building's gone, it's like, whoa, it's going to be so cool to see something happen there.
And it's such a big piece of land as well. It's going to be amazing to see what happens. Yeah. So let's take a little bit of a refresher on Sudbury's sort of stats that we have here. Our population currently is about 180,000 or so right now. Back in 2021, so only 4 years ago, we were at 166,000. So that's quite a bit of growth just in the last 4 years.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of that happened because of, like work-life balance, and especially throughout COVID, when everything was skyrocketing, kind of like the world was, shifted on its head for a little bit. Like lots of people looked here for more affordability. Remote work obviously helped that as well. And so, but now I feel like we're seeing more and more families start looking here, instead of being like, okay, where do we go to be able to buy a house? It's like, okay, where do we go to be able to raise our family in a good and, sustainable way? And then you get, obviously the retirees as well, they sell their, $2 million house in Toronto and buy an equal house up here for $800,000 and live like kings.
Yeah. And sort of have that freedom to be a little bit more retired and more sort of calm in their lifestyle. So do you think like this is going to continue? We've seen a lot of growth in the last 4 years. Do you think it's going to continue in the next 5 or so?
I would be very surprised if it didn't keep going. I feel like with the development that we have going on, we're kind of shifting from, a small town feel into like, a bigger metro feel. But we have a ton of work to do, especially downtown. But we have a lot of good projects, a lot of good housing. And I feel like, when you're downtown and you look at a downtown condo that has amenities and has like it's like a real condo vibe instead of just, hotels that they call condos up here. I feel like once the condos are built in Sudbury, people will be like, oh my God, like there's a real condo. We can actually switch into something that feels more like home instead of, because not everybody wants a house to live in and a big yard and grass to cut. But I feel like if somebody's downtown Toronto or even Barrie now in a high-rise condo, they can be like, okay, Sudbury also has this, so let's go there.
Yeah, it's not just about people coming to the city and adding growth in terms of numbers of people, but it's kind of starting to create a shape of like a community and recreating our communities as well, right? Like we have certainly our suburban and urban communities, our different neighborhoods that feel like communities, but for these new developments, especially sort of in and around the downtown, they are going to start to create a bit of a sense of community. Like you said, people living and working in the same area and shopping in sort of the downtown or a centralized kind of hub.
Okay, so speaking of communities, on the other side of this equation, it says that 20% of Sudbury's population is now over 65.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
That just means, and we've seen it a lot in our businesses and with our clients that we work with and our agents' clients, there's a huge demand for senior housing. Accessible housing in sort of a community type environment for those seniors who, like you said, they don't want to mow a lawn anymore and they don't want to upkeep a home. There's definitely a lot more demand for that. And I think what we've been seeing sort of anecdotally, I think, in our businesses is people moving into senior rentals, like certainly in the Valley, Chelmsford, there's been quite a few of those developed. In town, there really isn't a lot of options for them if they wanted to stay centralized and close to maybe where they bank and where they go to their doctor currently. So it's a tougher sort of thing to find in the city itself. And I find even some of my clients are moving to Espanola because that's a small community with a small hospital and they do offer a little bit more affordable senior style living. And I'm hopeful that with the new developments that are happening, especially at Project Manitou, and then looking at some of the projects that Panoramic are going to be doing, that they will be meeting some of that need for that senior housing.
And even the development on Auger, the old St. Bernadette school that Devla is taking on. Actually, it's almost finished now, but apparently there's wait lists there. Like, so people, especially, retirees, they do want to stay in the city. They want to stay central. They don't necessarily want to go to, I guess the Valley's not that far, but let's even say Espanola. They want to stay central. They want to stay, in the action. They're just not an option for them right now.
And they also want to stay like where their friends and their family are and where that community is that they've lived in for so many years, right? Like it's hard to imagine moving to another city or another part of the city when your home and all of your friends are in a certain area. So it's nice when you can provide those senior housings in various places of our community. And that Auger development is a fantastic example.
Yeah, it looks really good for sure. So a question for both of us. Do you think that builders are adapting to like the senior style quick enough? Or do you think there's still a shift for, I shouldn't say multi, but single family houses?
I think now they are. It really feels like now they are because there is such a demand mostly in those remote locations, but these developers and these builders are met with still a bit of red tape and a bit of difficulties in getting those projects completed. But certainly we're seeing a lot more happening now. And I think it should be meeting the pace, but it needs to continue. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, it's a balancing act because you can't, you can build and they'll probably all be finished. But what happens when that generation is gone and then we're left with all these apartment style, condo style living that are geared to seniors but then there's not like the bigger,
Yeah.
the Gen Z is going to come up and be like, we don't want these.
Yeah, that's a
Or
really
maybe they will want them.
that's a really good point. And I think something that we had seen in other communities, and maybe it's something they're not really doing here as much, but is developing more like flex housing. So something that's good for young families, but is also accessible, and sort of those great entry bungalows, and certainly the developments that we see, I think like in the Valley and Chelmsford, where they're, a single level slab on grade build. Yeah. Maybe they have a small crawl space basement for storage, and they have a little attached garage, just 2 bedrooms. So it's not the kind of place you can grow into as a family.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know. Do you think somebody in their 20s would sort of buy that as their first home?
I mean, for the first one, yeah. Like, well, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you need more than 2 bedrooms?
Yeah. You get your first job, you got a little bit of money, go into a nice 2-bedroom that has a garage.
Yeah.
And then build a little bit of equity and move on. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
maybe in 10 to 15 years, if that is the case, I don't think we would have too much housing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Well, let's hope.
Let's hope. We'll just repurpose it into something else anyways.
Yeah. So thinking about a little bit more about downtown, I know we talked about downtown a little bit leading up to this, but we have some really exciting projects on the horizon, and we can see them. We alluded to them in our first bit of the conversation today. Specifically, I was just downtown yesterday at the bank depositing some checks, and the Scotia Tower being done by Panoramic Properties.
It is crazy to see. I didn't even realize that you could take just all the glass off the side of a building. I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Yeah, you can see inside it completely right now. Yeah. They've got walls down, and they're putting upwards of, almost $20 million?
Yeah, it's close to 20 mil apparently, yeah.
Into this renovation. So they're redoing all of the interiors, the hallways, elevators and whatnot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's such a huge project.
How many housing units is that going to be?
It's supposed to be 83 apartments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I mean, that's fantastic for downtown, because I mean, one piece of a thriving downtown is people actually get to live downtown. And that's something that, I mean, there are apartments and there are a couple buildings downtown, but I think like Panoramic itself does an exceptional job. So it's not just going to be, a thrown together apartment that nobody really cares about. They do really great work, imported kitchens, tile, like it'll look nice. So it'll be a bougie apartment, which is probably the first one downtown.
That's going to be amazing to see.
Cool, yeah.
And I hope it's kind of like a little bit of a different style, like not, unfortunately, like we saw some downtown condo developments in the last 10 to 15 years where they look like suburban homes inside. Yeah. People who want to live downtown in the future, even if it's 5 to 10 years from now, they want something cool. They want something interesting. They want something a little bit funky, a little bit
Instagrammable.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully you'll have a little bit of personality down there as well.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a huge change for our city and for our downtown specifically, to have these buildings with people living and working downtown.
Yeah. So we have the Scotia Tower. We have Project Manitou, which is just on top of the hill overlooking downtown. And that's 180 apartments, I'm pretty sure, 180, 190. Yeah. It is, geared to income, and I think a portion of it is geared to seniors as well. But then just you drive down Paris Street and go just over the bridge, and then it's probably the biggest development that the city will have seen. I think, it probably will be one of the biggest developments.
Oh, yeah, because it's going to be 3 different buildings, I believe, right?
Yeah, so I'm just... Is there a bigger development that
Manitou might be pretty big as well, because I think it might have several phases, but certainly, the panoramic building that's going to be going up in the old hospital area is going to be one of the largest, most visible projects. And it's going to be, my understanding would be, there's a portion that'd be geared for seniors, senior living, with services involved as well, like support services for the seniors, probably gorgeous views from these.
Oh, I can't imagine the views. I cannot wait to see them.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah. And then 2 other buildings with condos and rentals.
Yeah.
So opportunities for quite a range of demographics, right? We have seniors to probably some young people just starting out wanting to rent, and then those who want to invest in condos and condo living.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking about it now, but even like the stuff that happens at Bell Park every single weekend throughout the summer, like imagine just like an extra 500 people that show up to those events, and like the scale that we can actually host something, at Bell Park. Yeah. It'll be so cool to see. It's
going to change the lifestyle of people in and around the area as well, because, you're going to have people living. And I understand right now there's quite a negative feeling about downtown. And certainly when we drive down there, it does appear to be a bit of a ghost town. There's not as many people working downtown as certainly there used to be. A lot of businesses have left. A lot of restaurants are maybe not there anymore.
Yep.
So it's difficult to sort of envision the downtown now. But our feeling, we talk about this a lot at our office, is the development is a great thing. It's a great thing for our city, and it's a great thing for our community and for people to sort of live and work in that area. Because you think about it, like, let's say you go on a vacation to a city. Maybe you go to Toronto and you've got an event that you're excited for. Maybe it's a concert or a game. You don't want to drive 30 minutes, 40 minutes into the city, park your car in some parkade, and then drive out with the rush of everybody. Yeah. You want to stay downtown. You want to walk to the game. You want to go out for a drink afterwards or have some dinner. You want to live and, walk and enjoy entertainment in that area. Yeah. So if we can do that in our city, where we have a beautiful arena, an event space, some hotels, and you're living and working downtown, some great restaurants, it's going to be amazing.
It is going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even like talking about Toronto, you want to be able to, drive downtown, park your car, not see it for 3 days.
Absolutely.
And then just go, catch an Uber. You want the hustle and bustle. You want to be able to walk around, and I agree.
Take the streetcar.
Yeah, I can't wait to be
It's funny, whenever we go to cities and we take our son loves learning about transit and from different cities. So like we went to Vancouver last sort of spring, and he hadn't ever spent any time in Vancouver at all. And we woke up in the morning and he's like, can I get some money to get a transit pass? Sure. He goes, gets a transit pass. We don't see him for the rest of the day. He's gone to Stanley Park. He's like discovered that he can take the C bus across. So it's pretty cool to sort of investigate a city that way. And hopefully our city will attract that kind of people who are interested in exploring it as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But I think it's like when we talk about development or redevelopment of the city, I think it's like a partnership between, private and public, and the citizens have to be on board, but also, the leaders of the city need to be on board. And I feel like they are. But one thing that we kind of alluded to a little bit earlier is that it's like right now the storefronts are empty downtown. Everybody's moving out because of, the issues that are plaguing downtown. But I think, us included, like we would love to, have our office downtown. I feel like we've talked about that before, but like obviously things need to change. So, when the government, cleans up the downtown, businesses need to be ready to move back, liven it up. And I feel like some businesses have started to try and like get that trend going. It's just not working great right now. But I feel like when that happens, obviously we're willing to go downtown. I feel like a lot of other businesses will be willing to go downtown, and that's how, it really livens up. And then once you see more businesses downtown, people want to live downtown. Yeah. I think it's just everybody needs to get on board at the same time-ish.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to have that mental buy-in when you don't really see the shovels in the ground yet for the event center and sort of the cultural hub that they're planning for downtown. But we know that the city is committed to building this. They budgeted quite a lot of money. I think the last article said around 200.
Yeah, I think it was just over 200 mil.
They hired PCL Construction as a project manager, and they're due to start construction, I believe, this coming year in 2026. So I think hopefully once we start to see shovels in the ground and a little bit of work happening with that development, hopefully our community will sort of start to buy into it as well.
Yeah. And I feel like even like the old hospital came down literally last week, and I feel like even like the comments you see on Facebook, like I feel like that might already be like stirring up, like people are like, oh my god, like something's actually happening. Yes. Instead of like a lot of the comments are like, thank god the eyesore is gone, but it is gone now. You can see the trees and you can see the water. Yep. And like people will start getting that view of, okay, this is the future. The future's happening right now. Yeah. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and kind of focus on the housing piece. So 2024, Sudbury's rental vacancy rate was only 1.5%, which is well below the healthy 5%. Which I think, 5%, I feel like we haven't seen that in a long time.
We haven't seen that. No, I think it's generally around 2%. Yeah. But now 1.5%. That is so low.
I feel like just the feeling this year, I think that's creeped up a little bit too. So let's say let's say it's around 2%, which is still extremely low anyways. So it's obviously tight supply. It's hard to be able to get an apartment at a 2% vacancy rate. There's not much hitting the market for renters. So where does that leave us?
I mean, it's kind of tough. We see these larger projects happening, which is going to fill some of that demand, right?
Yep.
But in the meantime, the city has somewhat helped with the individual person trying to develop their own land and adding additional dwelling units to their properties, right? They've streamlined the permit process. They're encouraging more accessory dwelling units, so ADUs and mixed use buildings, by launching the housing supply strategy. And they're focusing on, I believe there are some incentives for doing downtown additional housing as well. So adding apartments to mixed use commercials, or adding apartments to, if you have a property in the downtown core. So that's relying on the individual, unfortunately, to sort of get housing started now. But that's something that's deliverable within 6 months to a year, right? Converting a basement apartment to another dwelling, or putting an additional dwelling on a property. That's something that can be done in a year or less.
Yeah. So I feel like, I mean, putting the onus on the I guess the taxpayer or the consumer, the property owners. I mean, I feel like that's probably the right way to do it. Just incentivize them, and then like get out of the way. Let the people that actually know how to do it just do it. And obviously, there's tons of great contractors that can help build an ADU. I've done a few of them. So it's relatively easy. It's obviously expensive with the permitting process, but the community improvement plan that downtown, and it's actually in every single core. So it's New Sudbury. There's one in Garson, like every kind of main strip of
really?
Even like accessory cities.
Awesome.
They have like a little area that they would also give this. So it's tax breaks. It's if you're changing the facade of the building, they give you a certain percent. If you're adding units, they give you, is it 20% of the build up to $20,000 or whatever? So let's say it's $20,000 per apartment, which is, usable.
Something.
It's usable for sure. So I think there's a lot of incentives that are out there. And then you talk about the accelerator fund that CMHC Housing has come out with. You always like the pre-permitted builds or whatever they call them. They're just like this. If you build this, we will approve you.
Yeah.
These are the type of things that we need. And we just need more people to step up and start. The
leadership can provide the plans and they can provide the incentives to say, if you build this, we will give you X incentive. It's great to have CMHC in the city and all these partners and leaders saying, you can do this, we will facilitate it. But it does come down to the individual, comes down to the individual property owner to actually take it on and to do it. So it's nice to see that they are doing some incentives, but I think they're going to have to continue to incentivize the individual to do that, to do those developments, because it's hard for some property owners to say, well, why am I going to, put money into this property here when I'm not sure about this neighborhood, appreciating in value. Well, if you incentivize them to do that, then it's going to create goodness for the whole community in and around that area.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's a big struggle with downtown. Like I feel like the buildings downtown that are for sale, and there's a ton of them that are for sale, they're like maybe 40% of where the value could be or should be right now. So they're basically giving the buildings away for free. It's just like somebody needs to be able to be like, okay, if I buy this building for $1 million, is it going to be worth $4 million in 5 years? And like right now, that's a bet that people aren't willing to take.
And you have to carry that cost. You have to carry that cost for a couple of years before it's realized. And it's tough because you can't necessarily fill those vacancies right now. Yeah. It's a bit of a challenge, but certainly if you're able to invest in one of these buildings downtown, I think it's a great buy.
They're the steal of a deal. Lots of them actually. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. So let's say we can't fill the amount of housing, or a lot of houses aren't built, and let's say in the next 5 years. What do you think that happens to our affordability?
It's just going to be increasingly less affordable for the individual to buy. Our population is going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to see demand, especially demand on rental housing. We've seen that a lot firsthand. So if we're not building apartments, rental units, and housing for people who want to buy and live in them, we're just going to continue to see prices rise, competition increasing for those properties, and it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do see, we can see those projects. You can see the cranes on the horizon. You can see those builds happening. So hopefully they'll be able to outpace the demand and the increased population.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So that's the vision for Sudbury 2030.
It's positive.
I think it's pretty good.
It's a positive vision.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it for sure. I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's our vision for Sudbury 2030. I think it's super positive, more connected, full of possibility, more people. I love it.
Me too. That's our vision, but we want to hear from you. Do you think these projects will transform our city, or is there something else that you would like to see downtown? Comment below. Thanks for tuning into the TNT Real Estate Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share with others looking to succeed in real estate.
We'll catch you next time with more tips and strategies for navigating Northern Ontario's #1 real estate market. Until then, stay ahead in real estate.